Even though throughout all of the Gospels, we are shown over and over again the Pharisees opposed to Jesus in so many areas of faith and practice. But this time, Jesus and the Pharisees are aligned in the teaching about the resurrection of the dead. Luke opens this account describing the Sadducees' belief, who, unlike Jesus and the Pharisees, they denied that there is a resurrection. And so they propose a question to Jesus. We often ask questions to get information, don't we? Or understanding something about someone. But just like Father Jay mentioned last week, the Sadducees here are not sincerely asking for information from Jesus, nor are they ready to engage in a conversation with him. They are setting a trap. They already got their position on the subject. They want to start a debate and put Jesus on the defense by posing a really silly example about a widow who has 7 husbands. And when she dies, they ask, whose wife is she going to be in the next life? Back then, the ancient law, in fact, it goes all the way back to Deuteronomy. The ancient law required that if a man died without an heir, his brother was to take the widow as his wife. And that was done so that the family name would continue and any children and property would stay within that family. So, Jesus answers the question by drawing a distinction between this life and the next. Heaven and earth, Jesus argues, are not the same. God's ways are different from ours. God does not think the way we do. Good news. No matter what state a person had in their lifetime, even the lowliest is ranked with the angels. That's what Jesus just said. Despite their sufferings in this life, he says, they can no longer die. For they are like the angels, and they are God's children. That's exactly what we celebrated this last Tuesday and Wednesday, isn't it, folks? Unlike our world, where people are judged by their political and financial, social, and educational ranking, in heaven, those rankings just do not exist. And there is a religious debate that's underneath this passage. When you listen to the Sadducees, it sounds very theoretical to the casual male listener. But if you ladies, if you were there hearing those Sadducees and those questions posed by the Sadducees, it wouldn't sound so theoretical. Because you'd be hearing of a woman who was passed around 7 men for the purpose of bearing children and protecting the family line and property. In heaven, Jesus says, there is no such mistreatment. There is no such dehumanization. Those treated as inferior in this life will, with everyone, be loved in heaven. Women will no longer be treated like property, nor be considered as inferiors at the will of their male relations or religious authorities. They will be honored as beloved children of God, and they will share equally with all the joy and peace that God bestows on all of God's children. And then Jesus puts an end to the debate by saying, all will be new then with God. All will be forgiven. All will be free. There will be no more human power brokers. or military brass or strong men over everyone else. Nor will there be sexism or racism or oppression of any kind. And if we are to experience heaven on earth, then we must do all that we can to eliminate suffering of all kinds. In heaven, in the heaven that Jesus describes for us today, God will end how it has always been for so many in this world. Jesus gives us a vision that gives hope to those who are oppressed and suffering. So he does not relieve us from the obligations to be instruments in that new life. We're responsible for that, beginning here and now. Why? Because as Christians, our mission by word and deed is to help others see themselves as children of God. Jesus has shown by his words and actions that our God is the God of the pressed down and forgotten. God does not forsake anyone facing death, neither does he abandon anyone after death. Here on earth, God strengthens the weak and the neglected, and then he enables them to walk towards the hope that Jesus holds out for all of us: resurrection. Those Sadducees, they are basing their argument on the notion that the next life is just a continuation of this life. But they were wrong. And Jesus corrects them. He doesn't tell them what the future is going to look like. He just says that it's going to be different. And what will endure is our relationship with God. So, if that's our future, what are we supposed to be doing in the meantime? With the grace of this Eucharist, God has already given us the new age. It has already dawned, folks. It has. We allow the future to happen in our world right now. And in order to do that, we got to examine how we treat others who don't have the privilege and opportunities that we do. We have to stop being exclusionary to those who are different from us. We got to do our best to raise up and empower everybody and make present in some way what we are hoping for in our future life with God.